He is working really hard to make sure that all the Southeast tribes and village corporations know about the different post-pandemic recovery opportunities. We're in a phase, though, of reporting. So I heard Heidelberg in the house. I don't know if Cake is here or Wrangel. Hey, okay, there you go. You guys have not turned in your SLF RF reports. And okay, thank you. AFN extended a 1-month reporting deadline. We negotiated very hard with the Department of Treasury. It's important that you get this done. And I know everything is important and every meeting is important, but if you don't get your SLFRF reports in, your federal funds could be frozen. Healthcare, public safety, SNAP, TANF, all of that could be absolutely frozen if that's not done. So Heidelberg, Wrangel, Cake, give Maya Carl a call. You can find her contact information on our website, and we will be coming to a community near you back here on May 26th if any of those tribes want to come for free grant service reporting help. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, AFN. I'm going to invite Anthony, our CEO, to the stage. It's 2023. We weathered a pandemic, and exactly 10 years ago, the results of the company were tough 10 years ago with a significant loss we posted in 2013. And since 2013, we've been through a significant restructure on many, many levels of the corporation. And the last handful of years of the corporation, we've been on a trend in a powerful way that is making money and making a difference. And the theme is ocean health. It's something that's intuitive to us as Native people, as people of the salmon people, and it's just something that makes sense. So we're happy to deliver this report to our CEO. Please welcome to the stage Anthony Mallott.
Yeah, guna cheese to everybody. How for being with us here tonight. I love the turnout. You know, prior to COVID, Anchorage we were getting like 800 attendees to our events, and then of course COVID interrupted that, and now I see we're getting back to normal. It's great to see the tables full. We have our agenda here, but a lot of you come here just to be together. So I hope we find that time later in the evening as well, just to visit and enjoy all of our company. My name is Anthony Mallott. Ganak yuchat duasau sagwedi ayachat kwashkikwan yadi ayachat koyakan athabaskan dutchkan ayachat. I'm Sagwedi. My Tlingit name is Ganak. I'm a child of the Kwashkikwan from Yakutat, Alaska, and the grandchild of the Koyukon Athabaskan. My mother's from Rampart on the Yukon River. Before I start my financial report, and that's really going to be my focus, we just issued our annual report. I want to make sure that I'm able to walk through the financial results that we've created not only this year, but in recent years, and what that means to shareholder benefits. I think that's the link that we have to continually show our shareholders, that our focus on financial results creates community and shareholder success. That's our mantra over and over. We care about financial success because our financial success leads to shareholder success. I'm not going to be able to dive into all of our programs and all of our partners, so I want to make sure that you have the chance to go through our information booklets. We have a lot of good information on our advocacy efforts, on our partners, Sealaska Heritage Institute, Spruce Root, Sustainable Southeast Partnership, our business companies, Wooch Bean. All the website information is here. So if anything is particularly interesting to you, you can dive in and get more information based off of this information booklet. And of course, we have many employees here that will be able to talk with you, as well as the board. The board understands all of our programming priorities, all of our business priorities. So the one thing that we have to start out with is net income. And so we had a drop in net income in 2022. And I need to go back to the prior 5 years to explain that drop. So from the prior 5 years were the greatest net income results in Sealaska's history. 5 years in a row of the greatest net income results of Sealaska's history. And that's because we've created 4 very strong income sources for Sealaska. We aren't reliant on a single income stream. And so that's, as I walk through the financials, I'm going to be a bit repetitive about those 4 income streams because I want to make sure we have a good understanding of the differences of those income streams and how each one of them creates the financial strength that Sealaska has to be able to weather a difficult investment environment like 2022, but also continue to provide stable shareholder benefits. And so business income, the Ocean Health Wuch'in platform, net income for our businesses increased in 2022. That's the first income source. 7J is income that we get from other Alaska Native Corps from their natural resource extraction. That went up in 2022. Investment income, which is a big part of our focus at Sealaska, because our investment income provides benefits for current generations and future generations. Our investment income faced a significant loss in 2022 because of the stock market and bond market. And I'll get into the details of that. But when you face losses in an investment income year, what typically happens is you get quick recovery. And we have seen that. So we believe that's a one-off event that's not going to disrupt the strong financial trends we've created in recent years. And the fourth income stream is our natural resource carbon credit income. And so the 5 years prior had significant income from our carbon credit programs. And then in 2022, we had a 1-year gap because we have 3 programs. The first 2 programs paid out from 2018 to 2021. In 22, we were working on our 3rd program, but the income from that carbon credit income isn't going to come until 2023. So the investment income decline and the lack of carbon income in 2022 were the 2 reasons why we faced the net income decline. And I'll go through the chart to express how we believe that this is a 1-year event. It's not an end to the strength of the financial trends that we've been putting forward. And in fact, our focus area, our businesses, is where we're seeing the strongest results. So if we go to the next page. So this is our operating companies. We have an operating measure called EBITDA. We focus on net income, of course. I mentioned that our business net income was up in 2022. Operating EBITDA gives us the clearest picture we have on the success of our businesses. It's a clearer picture of the cash flow that's generated from those businesses. And cash flow is very important because if the businesses don't create cash flow, the cash doesn't come back to Sealaska. The cash doesn't go into the shareholder benefit programs. So our focus on cash flow ties to the reality is that we need cash to run our shareholder benefit programs, and we need cash to pay out dividends to shareholders. So Joe mentioned the 8-year focus on our businesses to create stability, to create businesses that tie to our values, to create businesses that work in areas that we care about, the health of our oceans, the health of our environment. That has been stable. I hope you recognize this message. It's the same messaging we've been given year after year. We believe in this platform. Not only did we see growth in 2022, we are set up for strong growth in our business platform in 2023 as well. If we go to the next slide, just highlights revenue. Revenue going up is just another indication that our businesses are growing. It's not our focus area, but we will continue as we invest in our businesses, see the increase in both revenue and income from our businesses. And the more our business income goes up, the less effects our total net income will have from the other income sources that are much more variable or out of our control. And that's the one thing I want to express right now, is that when we think of the investment markets, our income is most dictated by the returns of the stock market. That is not in our control. We trust that over the long term, we will get a sufficient return, but in any given year, we may face losses. In our businesses, we have the ability to put forward strategic plans. We have the ability to make acquisitions, strategic investments. We have the ability to hire talented, experienced people that can make a difference and create growth in our businesses. And that's our focus. And we'll continue to see growth in that area. We'll go to the next slide and get through some of the again, going back to the reasons why we saw 2022 decline in net income. And it's the blue bar that is the most relevant. So in 2021, Sealaska had $60 million in income, total income. 33 million of that income came from the investment markets. In 2022, if anybody's seen the headlines from what we're still facing, a rise in inflation, rising interest rates, threats of recession, businesses announcing layoffs, the investment market was really disrupted in 2022. And we faced, you see in 2022, the negative blue bar, a loss in investments. So again, all to highlight that the drop in net income in 2022 was 80% because of the decline in investment markets, which we think are going to recover. The last bar again is you see the success of our carbon program, the red bars in the prior years, and the 1 year gap that we have, because it takes a long time to develop a carbon program, about 2.5 years before you get that income. We are set to create carbon income in 2023. So that red bar will return as a significant financial strength for Sealaska moving forward. We go to the next slide. This just highlights the reality of the investment market. This is the long-term history of our Marjorie V. Young Permanent Fund. This is the largest investment fund that we have. It's the longest standing investment fund we have, and it pays dividends to our shareholders year after year. You see, over time, we trust the investment market's going to provide strong return for Sealaska, but we are going to face years where we see declines because of the stock market, and 2022 was one of those years. Fortunately, it wasn't as bad as 2008, which was the great financial crisis. We did recover from that, and investment returns offset that 1 year decline as well. So again, our trust in investment markets, when I get to the next slide, is a critical part of how we think about our shareholder benefits. And go ahead and go to the next slide. So we've been using the success of the carbon program to grow our investments into funds that fund shareholder benefits that our shareholders have asked for. And I'll start here. Anybody here respond to the recent survey that we sent out? We had a survey where 5,000 shareholders responded. Well, if you did, thank you very much, because that's one way that we hear from you. That survey is your voice, and that voice is telling Sealaska the benefit areas that you are prioritizing. And without your voice, we aren't certain that we're hitting the mark with our shareholder benefit structures. But knowing that so many shareholders responded to that survey, we are able to take that shareholder voice and invest into the priority areas that you've put forward for us. And most recently, 3 years ago, the number 2 shareholder priority was language revitalization. The board added $10 million to a language revitalization fund. That's one of the areas of growth you've seen in our investment funds. The The shareholders asked for a memorial fund. The board approved a memorial fund. We have scholarship and education has been one of the top priorities for shareholders for decades. The board has added about $20 million to our scholarship funds from the success of the carbon programs in recent years. Thank you. In the last 5 years, just in Anchorage, there's 300 scholarship recipients, 300 of your youth that are investing in themselves, going to college, going to voc tech schools, creating strong, successful careers for themselves. So just really happy to be a part of supporting those students. And the thing about the growth and investment funds is I hope that the shareholders feel the current benefit, whether it be a scholarship, whether it be an elder benefit. We have elders trusts that pay out benefits to elders. But the power of the investment fund is that it's not just paying benefits to you here today. These funds are set up to be able to provide the same benefits generation after generation after generation. So in 30 years, your children, your grandchildren don't have to worry about whether Sealaska can continue to fund scholarships, because we've saved and invested the money, put them in investment funds that are growing. And the concept here is multi-generational benefit. We know that we want to provide current shareholder benefits, but when Sealaska was stood up, our elders, our culture bearers said Sealaska is about the current generation and future generations. And so the investment funds and long-term investing is one of the ways that we can make sure that these benefits are going to be there for our children, for our grandchildren, and for their children. If you go to the next slide. Again, just another way to look at the income decline in terms of the two income sources that created the decline. The drop in net income from investments in carbon alone was greater than the total net income drop, which means that the business income increased and 7J income increased. It highlights that when you're reliant on a single income source, if that single income source is down, we may face losses. The fact that we have multiple income sources that helped offset some of this decline means we did not face a loss in 2022. Next slide. Again, this is the most recent result, and I hope you have a chance, especially if you did the survey and responded to the survey. There's slight tweaks in how this top 5 looks every year. Again, I said education has always been in the top, dividends is always in there, youth programs, but this year was a new number 1, advocating for our native way of life. All the issues that we care about, our traditional way of life, subsistence harvesting, the herring management in Sitka, moose harvests and cake. This way of life that we've lived forever is so critical that shareholders are saying this is the number 1 thing that we want Sealaska advocating on our behalf. Fisheries management, making sure that we are part of the puzzle in figuring out, making sure our salmon are returning. And so the board listens. They have a policy committee. It's chaired by Wathalgadoc. They're very active. They work with AFN. They work with FAI. They work with Tlingit and Haida. Jaylene Kukesh is our head of policy and legal affairs. She puts forward a lot of efforts in our advocacy. And remember, a lot more information is in the information booklet on this, but it allows us to get the shareholder voice. It allows us to put resources behind these areas that our shareholders care about. Of course, the financial results are dividends. They're always going to be important. Career development. We have a growing team focused on shareholder development, educational success, and career success. It starts with our intern program and our scholarship programs, but it's expanding to many additional career opportunities, not only for our youth, but for adults looking to enter new careers. And I would, if you are interested in our shareholder development efforts, I would ask you to visit My Sealaska and specifically look at the opportunities tab. They have constant updates on the programs that they are putting forward based off of this shareholder priority. And lastly, this is kind of the proof of what we're trying to do, which is to create stability in the benefits that we provide our shareholders. And so even though we faced a drop in net income in 2022, our shareholder benefit payout went up in 2022. We paid over $20 million in dividends to our shareholders in 2022. It's from the success of our businesses. It's from the success of all of those 4 important income sources. And it all ties to growing and stability within our dividends. And the blue bar is growing. Those are all other shareholder benefit spend areas, the scholarships, the elder benefits, the memorial fund benefits, the language revitalization. All of those are growing as well. And when we think of 50 years, our 50-year history, we've had 50 years to get to this point. We are envisioning our next 50 years, taking this foundation and just continuing to create stability and growth in the shareholder benefits that we provide, and year after year assuring that our benefits tie to our shareholders' priorities. So Gunak Chish, for giving us your voice, responding to our survey, being here tonight. It's not just the survey that we get to hear from you, one-on-one conversations with our directors. After every meeting, our directors come back to me, our team, and they say, our shareholders said this, we need to remember it, we need to respond. They are very active. And so we'd love to engage with you further, the conversations and the questions, and make sure that your being here is a positive event for you and for us. So Gunak Chish for your time and your commitment. And I hope you enjoyed the dinner. How Ndoiksit Newsome. Okay, we have our Q&A MC, Morgan Howard.
Thank you, Anthony, for that report. Now we are in the part of the agenda where we'll do question and answer. We have our board youth advisor, Connor. Hold your hand up. He has microphones. Yeah, he's got a live mic there. So anyone who has a question, we'll bring the mic to you. And yeah, okay. Looks like we got our first question. If you could say your name, that would be great. So we know who you are.
Can you hear me? Hi, my name is Dan. My Indian name is Tofkenton. I am the Eagle clan from Sitka. And I have a great uncle, Walter Bay Williams, who's out of Juneau. I grew up in Juneau. Lived in Seattle and Anchorage as I've gotten older and worked there. And through my employer, I have a death benefit of $10,000. And as part of being a Tlingit who's proud and would like to be buried on Tlingit land, I do know there is plans or has been other land set aside to possibly build something that would maybe in the future be ancestral burial lands, or to honor the Tlingit and Haida tribes around Southeast and afford people a place to be buried. I guess my question is to everybody in here, you know, there are death benefits that are put out by Tlingit and Haida or Gold Belt My question to everybody here is, where are you going to be buried? Or where would you like to be buried? And personally, for me, a boy who's grown up in Juneau in that rich soil would like to be buried on Tlingit land somewhere in Juneau.
Sir, Sealaska also does have death burial benefits as well, and I'm not sure if you knew that. Because you mentioned Gold Belt and Tlingit and Haida. It's a day shoot program, and it's about 3-4 years old now. But I do understand what your comment was, which was on your ancestral land, and I would agree with that as well. That was something I would be interested in.
Yeah, we know that the cost, unfortunately, for families at a time of passing have been increasing. It's good to have all these sources being able to provide support. Tlingit and Haida has specific memorial benefit support that can offer kind of just information that makes it easier, and we support their efforts. We've also asked communities if they're having any issues with space and making sure that there are the traditional burial grounds still available. And in most instances, the communities are saying yes, but some we are very willing in the future, if that is not the case, to work with our communities to make sure that there is room.
Thank you for that question, Dan. Next question.
We got another question over here.
Oh, thank you, Matt. Okay, one of our Tlingit teachers.
Good evening. This is Shirley Kendall, shareholder for a long time. And my Tlingit name is Shaksani Kakwantan Chilkat. I wanted to give advice to everybody that's here. And a lot of people know me as the Tlingit word of the day lady. So here's your word for the day. And it's really an easy word. Inwu.
Inwu.
So everybody say it after me. Inwu.
Inwu.
Again, Inwu.
Inwu.
And what that means is you get to take home everything that's left after a Tlingit party.
Okay.
So good luck with the cream cheese in your pocket.
Thank you for
Ganeshji, Shirley. Ganeshji. I've learned from Shirley during the pandemic, the Tlingit language classes were online through Zoom. So I've attended some of your classes. Ganeshji for all that you do and keeping our language alive.
Got one over here, Morgan.
We'll go next.
Okay, where are we looking? Oh, there you go. Thank you, Connor.
I don't have a question, but my Tlingit name is Chaksanaki as well. And I just want to say Ganesh Chish for selecting me for my scholarship. And I really am blessed and thankful for Sealaska for letting me continue my postgraduate education and letting me live my dreams of going to college and being another successful Tlingit Ganesh Chish.
Ganeshji to you and congratulations on your progress so far.
My
Ganesh.
grandparents are Bessie and Matthew Fred from Angoon. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The next question.
Ganeshish. I'm Kutink. I'm from Angoon. I've lived in poverty for plenty main reasons to understand that what it was like to come from nothing to being something. And the berries, we go play out in the village to get full, right? Get to eat the berries, and then the Yana ate, and all of the other stuff that your grandmother taught you to eat at the picnic grounds. Now we can't even do that. I go out to play with my children. We have to travel across the water top. I lost my fiance because of not being able to live in land with the rest of everybody else. That was our choice, but I just want to say, if we can speak up for the trees and the herring more, it's more of a must, because I really do need my children to keep these perfect recipes going on, and the smiles and the love that it takes to even nourish one another. If I didn't say anything, it meant I didn't care. And I'm not going to be the only one saying anything. I understand, because I see what you guys did with that survey. That was my main number one choice too. And I'm so honored to be amongst everyone here. No matter what, even though those are my favorite what ifs, you know, that's just how I get along with the enemy within myself, because I struggle not seeing any berries outside my window, not seeing the yana ate and the skunk cabbage and the old man's beard right there. That's the way I grew up. I want my children to have the same thing. I'm a harvester, and I've conquered stage 4 thyroid cancer. I've conquered blood clots during pregnancies, and now this is my second one with blood clots, and I want to prove them wrong again with the socks. It means something to us, because we even named our hospital that, and we don't even hand out Devil's Club to our elders there. It pains my heart to see what people are going through when we can't even give them our own medicine because it's not there. And without, going that far, I am honored to be loved by y'all, but I want the food to keep loving us too. And if this wasn't God's country, then it probably would be all brown too. So goodness sheesh for speaking up for the trees and the herring with me. I was there since day one. I was standing there in the groceries, signed the petition for the herring, signed the petition for the herring. Who wants to eat good food? It hurts not having good food. And I'm trying to get healthy back again, because native food is the way. Goodness geez, I just wanted to say thank you.
Thanks, Chief, for sharing that, and much love and health to you. And as Anthony mentioned, and as you did, we really do listen to those surveys very carefully. And so Native rights, Native way of life is right at the top this year. And we're looking every day at that. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jaylene Kukash. I'm the Vice President for Policy and Legal Affairs and the Corporate Secretary. And I just want to say hi to my cousin, my family, and also other Angoon people in the back. Ooh. We do work very hard on the subsistence issues, on protecting our traditional way of life. We've been very engaged on the hearing issue, both regulatory wise and providing testimony, as well as supporting the litigation of the Sitka tribe of Alaska. And we'll continue to do that because it's so important for our people. And we'll continue to work on just the broader traditional way of life for our people. I do a lot of work with other groups around the state to make sure that we're advocating for these issues. But I just want to say, Chish to my cousin, my sister over there at the table.
And I really appreciate your comments. The ocean health thesis is tied to how much we care about our own homelands. The fact that our businesses are promoting renewable energy development, that they're promoting responsible stewardship of our seafood resources. It's because our people care about their homelands and the resources within our homelands. And so that care we're doing on the business side, and I wasn't able to go over all the business slides, but wuchiin.com is the website that offers all the information on our ocean health businesses, is based off of how big of a priority our homelands and our oceans are to us. So Gunak Chish for raising your thoughts and your care.
Oh, there in the back, Mr. Harris.
Konnichiwa. Ritske yudo sako tanta kwan tekwidi chutsit. Skahati ayat. Skahati ish on my grandfather's side. Believe it or not, the original Scottish that we called was originally Skahati. Now we know why they're so crazy. The reason I asked for a little time with you is to ask Sealaska to pay attention to House Bill 169. House Bill 169 is in the House again in Juneau, and it gives the right to reseed rivers, as our elders taught us way back when. As a small child, my grandmother taught me that if I took a salmon from the mouth of the river, I had a moral and ethical obligation to that salmon to finish the journey for it. It gave us the meat to feed the family. We had to take those eggs, seed them, take them upriver, take the portion of the salmon we weren't going to eat and put it up there as well, so that it would send the next generation back. As a child, I heard the elders say 90% of the salmon they knew are gone. I'm their age now, and 95% of the salmon I knew are gone. From Ketchikan all the way to the Yukon River, the salmon are leaving. And we've forgotten the stories of the fog woman about reseeding the rivers. That story is 14,000 years old. All of us have iPhones and computers. Type in New York king salmon, New York king salmon, and you will see pictures of king salmon there bigger than any caught in Ketchikan or many of the other communities. We need to have that right back. We are the only state in the nation that makes that a crime. The only state in the nation that makes reseeding the rivers a crime. And that shouldn't be. This is our heritage, and we owe it to reseed. If it was true to teach a child that, to reseed the rivers, then it's also true for the companies Sealaska owns, for the companies that harvest from the ocean. There's a saying, if you're not reseeding your harvest, you're not harvesting, you're mining. And we've seen the impact of that. In Southeast Alaska, we're seeing fewer and fewer cedar trees, because they are not getting the nutrients. I would encourage all of us to become aware of House Bill 169 and ask that we join the rest of the nation in welcoming Alaska Natives and US citizens as partners, not opponents. In this building, in this very building upstairs, the Commissioner of Fish and Game says we do not honor traditional knowledge. We do not use traditional knowledge in the management of fish and wildlife. New York does, New Zealand does, other states do. So my request to Sealaska is please encourage the passage of House Bill 169 and give us the right to reseed our rivers without going to jail.
Yeah. And Gunak Chish to you, Tom. You've been a constant advocate for this. We've heard you. You've presented your information and your data and your knowledge, and we will look into supporting that bill and getting your vision to become a reality. Gunak Chish.
Okay, over here.
Is it my turn?
Yes.
Oh,
What is your name?
my name is George Marino. I'm a half-breed Tlingit Indian. I hope my grandfather is from Okinawa. My other grandfather is from Mexico, and my two grandmothers are Tlingit. And I just like to say I'm grateful for the food and for the dividends. I'd like to be the grateful native. I'm grateful for everything that the board of directors does and everybody that works at Sealaska. And since I'm an elder, I really appreciate the old people money, the extra that I get. And my Tlingit name is Shua. And I'd like to, once again, I'd like to say thank you for everything. That's all.
Shishua. Thank you.
And thank you, George, for mentioning that, because not everybody knows that when you turn 65, elders get an extra 100 shares original. And so if you're an elder and you still have your 100 original, your dividend effectively doubles. And again, that was from the shareholder voice. When we let in the descendants, one of the big concerns was we don't want our elders to face dilution. And so providing the elder shares offsets and more the dilution of the descendant shareholders. So thank you for making note of that.
Okay, here you are. Go ahead. Back.
Yes, my name's Randy Ridley, originally from Sitka. And I'm not exactly sure what we can do, but I would like you to take a look at having our voice heard, at least on the unconditional harvesting by international countries of our seafoods and placing restrictions on it so that we may have our fair share of them without restrictions being placed before they even get here. So I guess that's about it.
Thank you for that. It's again, another reason why being in the seafood industry, we can be part of the management structures and we can request changes with management that we don't think is sustainable. And further, First Alaskans Institute is a fantastic partner in this area. AFN, many of our tribes working on addressing any management structure that is threatening the sustainability of our key species.
Okay. Right. Matt, where are you? There you are. Okay, over here. Oh, Irene.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello,
Hello.
my name is Irene Rowan. My Indian name is Gishuak. I am from the Chilkat Valley area, and I am thankful to Sealaska for my dividend. And I just want to say thank you to Julie for, and going back just a little bit here. At our parties in Klakwan, we always started with the history of our people. The person that stood up first would always share the history of the people that were involved in that tribal house. And so I was very, very happy to hear Julie talk of John Brorbridge, because that great man did us such a service without ever really being thanked, in my opinion, for all he did. And I also wanted to say thank you for 7i. And I'm not just Sealaska, because we put a lot of money into Sealaska, into the 7i fund with our trees. But the other regions have been putting money into 7i, and we all share in that amount of money. And I wanted to say, particularly for Anthony, thank you to your father, for it was your father, Byron Mallott, who kicked out the attorneys and the accountants in the room to come to a negotiated settlement of how 7I would be divided among all the regions. And that still holds today. And let's hope it continues to hold. But thank you to you and your family for sharing your father. But I also want to ask Sealaska at some point if they would, at their meetings, thank the other regions for the amount of money that they have been putting into 7I. Thank you.
Thank you, Irene. And thank you for sharing that history and for making sure we all know about it. You know, with 50 years, now it's been 50 years since Sealaska has been a corporation. We have been reflective these past years. And you're absolutely right about the beginning and how many challenges we had, especially with figuring out 7I. But I got to talk to one of the attorneys who helped write the actual legislation, and Sealaska and the native corporations were set up to assimilate. The original Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act stock was going to be for sale. That was how it was set up. But like you mentioned, Irene, a lot of folks came in, like Byron Mallott, and really saw that as an issue that had to be addressed immediately. And the 91 amendments came about. And now it is not possible for stock to be sold. And we have a lot of more protections over our native land that we did not have before. So yes, we do have a lot to be thankful for those early leaders. Thank you, Irene. Appreciate that. And we have Connor in the middle. Thank you, Connor.
Hello, I'm Randy Johnson. My father was William Johnson from Angoon. I'm Gitsbawira, Kilauea from Tsimshian, adopted Deshiton. Clan name is Canucks. My father was Kagwanton. What I would like to see is a move towards tourism and possibly working with other corporations in Southeast to create a living village. And it could be it would be multifaceted, and that it would be like a cultural camp for the youth to come participate, learn how we collected foods, put them up. And it would also be a place for the artists to come to show the tourists their wares, show them as they're making them, the carvers, the painters, the bead workers, and also utilizing that to teach those that were interested, whether it's youth or adults, and also incorporate a salmon bake into that, having an all-around tourism, showing what our culture is, showing them that we're a vibrant living culture. And, you know, having a place wherever on in Southeast on native lands, but incorporate also like some of the dance groups to come out and perform, and, you know, be able to show tourists that we're not just something in a book you can find somewhere, but that we're a vibrant living people, and, you know, show and teach about like all our different clans, and that people from different areas do have some differences. But, you know, I could see that as a big draw for the tourism as it's increasing, that if we were able to create that, it would teach things on so many levels and incorporate people from all over Southeast that were interested.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts, Randy. And also thank you for sharing your Tlingit name and others who have done the same. It's good to hear that. Yeah, I like your line of thinking. There are lots of great parts of our culture to share. And Sealaska is not invested into tourism at this time, but that doesn't mean we're not looking for good opportunities. And when we have the right fit, then that is something we'll explore. Looks like we might have maybe one more and then we'll move on with our agenda. Couple more, okay.
Good evening. My name's Tagak. Tlingit name's Tagak. I'm from Cake. My question is to the board and the people. As we've been seeing on the news, commercial fishing is going to take another big hit. And a lot of our people, our brothers and sisters, there's a way of life fishing. They have bills to pay. They have families to feed. And now the commercial fishing is going to be shut down in Southeast, only Southeast. Why can't we as people speak up for our lives that they're interrupting again? They're doing so many different things. And this one's going to put a big hurt on all of us. Krishish.
Yeah, thank you for the comment and the question. This is something we've been looking at very intently in the past few years in terms of looking at the trajectory of the commercial fishing opportunities in our villages and our communities and finding ways to be creative and add more permits and commercial activity within our communities. When I was a young girl, we had a whole fleet of fishing boats in our harbor, and we don't have that anymore. So we recognize the problem and we know that we need to do something, and it is on our radar screen, but I appreciate you bringing it to our attention here.
We got one over here.
Over here.
Hello, my name is Dalina Mahi. My Indian name is Jadilan. I am from Heidelberg. I was born and raised in Washington. Today's May 9th, 49 years ago. I was a Sealaska Shareholder member. My father died 1 year and 4 months after he died. His dead signature came out of the grave, signed a piece of paper, and put me in 13th Regional Corporation. When I turned 16, I literally moved to Juneau because I did not want to be in this corporation. I went to Sealaska, and I was told, because I was a minor, even though I was living on my own, that I could not be dealt with at the Sealaska Corporation because I was a minor. After my mom passed away, we had a cousin die in Seattle, and he had 100 shares. One half of his family was white, so they were given 50 shares. The other 60 something of us got to split the other 50 shares, so I got 2 shares. So I was allowed to come back to Sealaska. I asked the president in 1976, why was my dead father's signature signing me into a corporation that I don't want to be in? And now that I'm acting as an adult, emancipated, why can I not be spoke to? I was told I had to come back when I was an adult. So at 19, I went back to Sealaska. I was told they've never heard of me. They never had shares in my name, even though I had birth certificates and proof. And I said, so does that, and this is a long time ago, that means I was left out? They had no answer. I was told to come back. And then when I did, I said, can I sue you guys? Because this is supposed to be for me. I'm Native. They said, no, it's been past 2 years. You can't do nothing. Then the left outs come along. They get 100 shares. And then it was passed that the elders, they get 100 shares. But for me, who wants to be Native, who wants to have a corporation, who wants to have someone backing me up, no response. Nobody answers the phone. Nobody returns my phone calls. I feel like my name is blacklisted in Sealaska. Today's the death of my father, and it stirs it all up again for me because it makes me feel like nothing. I'm landless. I am without a corporation. And Lincoln Haida says, because you live in Anchorage, you're not even in the tribe. In Anchorage, Lincoln Haida have a tribe here, but I live in the valley. I can't even get native food. You know, there's so many people who feel shunned, but to have your own people shit on you. And all I wanted to know is why? Why can't you recognize me as a human being? Why? Why can't you pick up the phone and return phone calls even if it's gonna be hard on you? Why?
Thank you for your comments and your questions. And I don't know why you haven't had a return phone call, and it may be because you're not an original shareholder, but we'll certainly talk to shareholder relations. The issue with those enrolled in, I hear you, but the problem is that we at Sealaska, we don't have control over who are original shareholders. Unfortunately, the BIA was in charge of the original list. If you weren't on the original list for Sealaska that the BIA created, we can't add you to it as an original shareholder. It has been done before. It takes an act of Congress. It's not us. We can't just add people to Sealaska as original shareholders based on the original enrollment. We have seen new shareholders come into Sealaska that were enrolled in the 13th. They did have to go and get an act of Congress, and it's happened before, but the BIA will not allow their regional offices to change the roles of who was enrolled originally in 1971. And so we've tried to do that, and it is on our list of those things that we would like to see an amendment to ANCSA about, so that we can correct the misenrollment of some of our Alaska Natives. And I know how hard it is to not be included. I wasn't born before 1971. So, and luckily I'm a part of Sealaska region, and our shareholders thought enough to think about our future and enroll, but there's so many other corporations in Alaska that aren't doing it. But I hear what you're saying, and I know what the problem is, but it's not Sealaska, it was the BIA and where they put your name. And I don't know what your father did to change your enrollment, or if that even happened before 1971, but the problem is the BIA enrollment. I hear you, but we have to deal with the BIA and the legislation. Right. Yeah, I'll come and talk to you afterwards, and I can get more your name and your information, and we'll chase this down and we'll figure this out. But thank you.
Jaylene will be available, and she's been doing this as an attorney her whole career. And we have been, I mean, we've had to go back to Congress more than 100 times to change the Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act and all of the predicaments it has put us in. So I'm really sorry to hear your story. But the way you feel with Sealaska is the opposite of what we want. We want you to feel loved and welcomed. I don't care if you have 1 share or 1,000 shares. You're a Sealaska shareholder. So we will talk to you, and thank you for sharing that. Matt, do we have time for one more? I think I'm going to get fired if I keep going. I do want to hear all the questions, but they only just lately put me as moderator, and they probably regret it now.
I'll make it quick then.
Oh, yeah, you take your time. I mean, it doesn't mean we're going to cut off. We can always come back, but we also have,
Well, I'll take another 30 minutes.
and
then.
we're not leaving. I'm not leaving.
Ganashish, good afternoon. My name is Frances Andrews. I think I'm not enough Tlingit in that I'm terrified with public speaking. I forgot it was a business meeting and that we could ask questions. So I have 2 questions, or 1 question and then a request. I know there was a comment earlier about May 6th being the day after Cinco de Mayo, and May 6th for me is the day after MMIW. It's a big day for the work that I do, but it's also a big day for our neighbors. and our families and the impact that we have across, or the impact that we see across the state and in our communities. I did see that Sealaska Corporation made recognition on your Facebook and made a small donation to some nonprofit organizations in Southeast. So my question one is, what other efforts is Sealaska standing behind to support MMIW? And two, if you're comfortable asking that, just strongly encouraging you as people who advocate at the policy level and an organization or a business that has unrestricted revenues that you could put towards the work to continue to increase and put out more than just $1,000. I know that our tribes are responsible for our social services, and I know that our healthcare systems are responsible as well. But I see our corporations having a big opportunity to provide monetary contributions in the efforts that we have. As I was preparing for that day, for the work that I had to do in our community, I looked again at the statistics, and we have more than 300 missing people reported in the state of Alaska that are Alaska Native or American Indian. And more than 85% of our families are experiencing domestic violence. And I know this is a business meeting, but I really, really want to ask our corporation and other corporations across the state, with the resources that you have, please provide more than just $1,000 donations to these nonprofit organizations serving our families. And please contribute more than just to shelter services. That's a place where that impact can be made, but there's upstream work happening at the policy level that we can't use federal funding for. And that's all we really have in that work. So Ganeshish for hearing me, and I would love to know if you guys are doing more work in that area.
Thank you, Francis. Another person with Angoon roots. We hear you, and we want to do more. We always want to do more. You know, we do what we can, and we always feel like the work is never done to support our communities and our people and the issues we have to handle. But we'll look at other ways to support it. And me as a Native woman and a mother of 2 Native daughters, it's a big issue for me personally, but I know it's important to the company. And we were really supportive of the efforts of the Department of the Interior to put forth the Missing and Murdered Indigenous People Commission and push for Alaska Natives to be a part of that commission as well. But we'll continue to work on that issue. I know we've had a lot of our Native girls disappear or be murdered, and nothing's done about it. So we know it's critical. It's at the top of the list. And so we'll do what we can, but we appreciate the comment and thank you for your work.
Okay, so we're not going anywhere. If you still have questions, please do see us after the meeting, but I do want to get back to the agenda. I know many of you came straight here right after work, and we appreciate you sticking here. We still have a few more things. And next up, I'd like to introduce our director, Barbara Cariente Nelson.
Thank you, Morgan. Someone mentioned protocol earlier, that as Tlinkits, Haidas, Tsimshians, we acknowledge our veterans, and thank you, Kail Juice, for reminding us that. I'm sitting right in front of me, a Vietnam veteran, the Harris family represented here. I wanted to mention as Shareholder Relations Chair that while Jaylene came up here and took the privilege of acknowledging and saying hi to her cousins, it emboldened me to get up here as well, because if they're her cousins, they're my opposite. So hello to the Fline D-Dog Salmon. In all seriousness, when I walked in here today, the first face I saw was an elder, and it was an elder who was a veteran, and he had poppies to hand out. We remember, we celebrate, and we believe. As Tlingit people, and I am Tlingit and Filipino, we don't allow the words to fall to the ground. And as Shareholder Relations Committee, I've been taking notes of your questions and your comments, and our committee will come back and we'll take note of what was said here in every meeting that we go to. I wanted just to give you an overview, a summary to close out this portion of our agenda. I was really moved by the young lady who stood up and spoke about her medical issues with her blood clots and pregnancies. And she said, I came from nothing to something. And I want to speak up for the trees. And I want to speak up for the herring. And I want to share with you the words of the late Kingisty, David Katz. He said, the blood of our ancestors runs in my veins. They run in your veins. They are with us. We came from greatness. And so I gift those words back to you, that we're worth it, we're something. I heard Dan speak about his relative, Walter Babe Williams, and it brought back to mind when I was a little girl, and his uncle or grandfather, Walter Babe Williams, was probably the very first orator among us. And he was highly educated, and it was back in the 50s and 60s. And so he was an anomaly who had gone through the educational system and got his degree. But what did he do with that degree? He went back to the Alaska State Museum and he perpetuated our stories, which embody our values, our history, who we are as a people, our connection to place. So thank you for bringing up your relative, Walter Babe Williams. He's precious to us. And his stories are in the archives of Sealaska Heritage Institute. To your point about wanting to come home and have a place to be buried, I will take those words back to Gold Belt Incorporated, the land-based corporation of that area. And I know that that's been a topic at that level as well. The House Bill 169, you spoke of that so passionately, to receive the order. I believe it was Tom Harris, a Taekwondo brother I have yet to meet. Those words were also important because I'll stand with you, and many of us are standing with you. All of us are standing with you today. As I moved down the line, I was thinking, as I look back out here, that I mentioned to you that I'm part Filipino. Well, I have family here too. I see the Quinto family in the back, Frankie and his relative there. His father was my godfather, Marcelo Quinto, and what a godly man he was. I see the George Marino spoke up, and they too were Indopino, Clinkapino, Clinket and Filipino. Thank you for sharing your name. When you shared your name, your Tlingit name, Shawa, you brought that ancestor to us. I heard Paul A. Savita in the back from Cake. I know him from Juneau, childhood friend. It's a good thing that we're from the same clan, because he was a very good friend back then. And little did we know we were clan brother and sister. Also, for many, many years, this place has been home to my aunt Hazel Ichtenlock, and her son Myron and his family still live here. And she passed away here. To wrap it up, and there's so many other, and I took note of everything that was said here. The ask for a living village. Those villages still through Southeast are struggling to stay alive. And we need you all to come home from time to time and to eat the fish and to smell the beautiful air there. I mentioned as I walked into, I saw that halibut hat way back there. Those brought back the days when I was a teenager, and the sounds of Santa Kahini, Juneau, were alive with the sounds of halibut boats and seiners and you name it. And so I'm happy you're hanging in there with that halibut hat, because that's our history too. When I was a little girl, my sisters and I would have to go through a gauntlet of bullies in the neighborhood who would call us names, derogatory names, because of our nativeness and probably because of our skin color, which was part Filipino. And they were hurtful names. And I remember coming into the house, and my father, a very honorable, dignified man, asked me why I was crying. My sister Andrea was a little older, wasn't crying. My sister Ronalda, who was taller but younger, wasn't crying, but I was crying. And he said to me, look out the window. I told him what had happened, that grass was in my hair, mud, rocks. And he said, stop crying. Look outside the window. You see that, those 4 posts? He says, these are the corner of our home. Mom and I work hard to feed you and clothe you. This is your home. You belong here. That was in the 50s. You belong here. This is your home. That still resonates among our young people today, and that's what they're saying. This is our home. We belong. I would like to say to the young lady that stood up, happy birthday. And if somehow I was your relative, I could gift you at least 1 share. That's all you need to be a shareholder, is 1 share. And hopefully you have family that are Sealaska shareholders that can gift you. And if not, I'll get your name and I will write you down as an heir of 1 share when I pass on, because you are right to cry. You are right to cry. You're one of us. And I know it's not because it's the dividend that you seek, but you want to belong. And you're here with us and you do belong. So with that, this is a business meeting. And so Frances, thank you for reminding us that. But I also want to say that Frances, as she stood up, I saw her grandparents, Ike and Fran Cropley, and they were always standing, encouraging us young people to get up and speak and to advocate and hold each other up. And that's why we're here. We're here because a new director said, you know, I'm amazed how much conversation occurs in this boardroom among the directors. You always have the shareholders right at the center of your conversation. And it's true. And so we come here to listen to you. But you are like the salmon that feed our souls, because you sharpen our vision and our purpose for saying, I want to serve. And with that, I will turn this back over to the agenda as is. And thank you for allowing me to steal the mic, Jaylene.
She knows full well I can't say no because she's Taekwondo, which is my father's people. So I can never say no to her. So again, I'm Jaylene Kukash. I'm the Vice President for Policy and Legal Affairs, but my other important role is Corporate Secretary. So I have to make sure that we administer our annual election at Sealaska. So you all should have received your proxy and proxy statement and annual report, or at least a link to it in your emails. You can also get it on mysealaska.com. It was postmarked last Friday, so if you haven't seen it yet, watch for it if you're still getting paper proxies. The key thing we want you all to remember is to vote your proxy by June 2nd to be eligible for the early bird prizes, and also to vote by your proxy by June 22nd to be counted. Otherwise, you have to travel all the way to Klawock, which is probably fine for some of you, to vote in person at the annual meeting on June 24th. Last year, we had a 61% voter turnout, and so I think we can do better. I know we can do better, so I encourage all of you to vote. Tell your friends, tell your family that this is important and we need to vote. We don't have any resolutions on the ballot this year, but we do have 4 seats for the board of directors up for election. We have 4 incumbent directors and 3 independent candidates running, and you'll hear from them next. So I'm talking really fast because we have our moderator for for our candidates who will be coming up to speak to you in a moment. There is also a lot of information on our Election Connection about each of the candidates. We have 2-minute videos of each of them. There's also a summary of all of them in your proxy statement. And if you have any questions about voting or about how to complete the proxy, because you do have options for directed discretionary quorum only, contact us at Sealaska at the Corporate Secretary's office, or you can contact the Independent Inspectors of Election, which is LG Rayfield. But my key message to all of you, vote, help us reach quorum quickly, and let your voice be heard. So with that, I want to hand it off to Waflagidak to handle our candidate speeches. Good afternoon.
Goodness, Jaylene. We did an amazing job in LA of everybody staying within their 2 minutes to speak. So let's keep that going. Everybody, all the candidates, all the independent candidates, as well as the endorsed candidates, you each have 2 minutes to to speak. As Jaylene said, everything that you would want to know in addition to what they're going to say on this microphone today, you can find a lot more online, but a lot of them are here. Have a conversation with them, get to know them a little bit, ask them important questions that you care about as shareholders. So with that, we have our first independent candidate that I'm going to ask to come to the mic, Patrick Anderson. Are you ready? Please help me welcome Patrick Anderson. You have 2 minutes. Jaylene's going to put a hard stop. She's got a stop sign ready to call you out when your time is done.
Good evening. I don't know what I'm going to do with 2 minutes since we got 45 seconds yesterday to answer a whole bunch of questions. My name is Patrick Anderson. I have served on the board before, fulfilled a number of roles. My Tlingit name is Dachudain. I'm named after the last chief of the Thunderbird House of Dry Bay, Blind David Dick. That's where my family is from. I'm running as an independent because I'm not happy with how the corporation represents its success. This year, they lost 30 million in operations. They made a profit through 7i and tax. I've been explaining that on Facebook, so I invite you all to read it. I would appreciate your vote. I'm not going to take a whole lot of time because we're late, and I know everyone wants to get home. So thank you very much. I'm going to cheesh and take a look at the material I put up. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Patrick. Just want to remind folks, there was a candidates forum online yesterday. If you missed it, you can still watch that video. It's online at mysealaska.com, and you can rewatch that video where all of the candidates got the opportunity to answer quite a slew of questions. Next, Monica Ortiz couldn't be here, but I believe we have Rosemary Hotch speaking for him. Yes. Okay.
I'll do a quick shout out to my shareholders from Cluckwan. I'm the Cluckwan Inc. president. Most of you know my daughter Tasha Hotch. She knows Monica Ortiz, and he needs someone to read his speech. I'd vote for him. He's pretty good looking online. Greetings, Anchorage shareholders. My name is Monica Ortiz, and I'm running for Sealaska Board of Directors because I want to offer my knowledge and experience to make our corporation to be more profitable and get more shareholders employed in high-paying jobs. I am the grandson of Thomas J. Hansen, who is a Tlingit from the Eagle clan. My grandfather was an orphan, born in Ketchikan and raised in Sitka boarding school. His mother was Ann Johnson. Our people are smart and can impact the world in ways we have never seen. We're doing good work, but I know we can do better. I want to invest and expand in Sealaska businesses in order to bring in more profit for our shareholders. And secondly, to bring more job opportunities for our shareholders. My business plan is to grow our current environmental, scientific, technological, and construction services. There are untapped potentials that would bring in revenue to continue funding our cultural programs and promote our core values while promoting shareholder hiring. With that profit, we can have more language classes and more scholarships. My desire is to see our corporation and our native shareholders thrive for a better future. I have experience working for many years as an electrical engineer project lead for a variety of highly successful companies. I know what it takes to succeed and to be profitable. I hold several money-making patents. Those who know me are aware that I listen to our fellow shareholders and that I am known for doing what I say I will do. I humbly ask for your consideration. Gunishish Hawa.
Sheesh, Rosemary, thank you for doing that for Monaco. I want to say that you came in like right as the buzzer was going off, and Monaco did too in LA. So good job. We have Charles Skolka Jr. Is anybody here to speak for Charles? Okay. Just a reminder that your proxy statement has a lot of information about Charles. He was on the candidates forum last night where he got to share a bunch of his perspectives on things. So please check out all of those different resources. And I just want to say hi to the over 400 people who are watching online right now. That's a huge turnout considering there's hundreds of people in this room too. So hello, everyone. Now we have the endorsed candidates. First, we're going to have Morgan Pagatkin Howard. Run faster, faster, Morgan.
Give me a heads up. Gonna start meandering my way up here. Morgan Howard. I've been on the board for nearly 6 years. I've been the chair of the finance committee and also chair of the communication subcommittee. So when I'm in Anchorage here, I think of the other Native corporations, and many of you probably belong to other corporations as well, like Siri. So what is the difference between Sealaska and the other ones? Sealaska about 8 years ago made a big change. They decided to only be in businesses that align with our values. So currently we are in the businesses around ocean health, hydrosciences, and seafood. A lot of the Native corporations up here are still doing what they've always done: natural resource extraction, government contracting, and then I'll say a third bucket is any business that comes down the track they think is a good one. But do they become good at that business? Do natural resources last forever? No, they don't. Will government contracting, the preferential treatment that ANCs have, last forever? No, they won't. What Sealaska is doing is building a foundation of businesses for the future. We're going to be the best in the world at what we do, hydrosciences, and we're going to be the largest and best seafood company in the world as well. That is the plan. That is the strategy. We have a talented team that is executing on that strategy, and it's working. It's going to pay off in the future, and that's why I'm so excited to be running again for another term. And I appreciate your vote. Kunishish Awa Doyaks Setnusum.
Just want to say that I am the best moderator because everybody's been falling within their time limit. All right. Now we'll welcome Lisa Kiljuiceling.
Thank you, everyone. I failed to mention that my grandmother and my mother are from Heidelberg, Alaska, Helen Sanderson, Wadu Kiljuice, and my mother's Carolyn Sanderson. My father is Kildagan. He's a Simsian from Metlakatla, Alaska. His name was Gerald Oshlang. My grandmother was Cora Booth. I'm very proud of my heritage. I come here today because we're running for a seat. There's a team of us running for a seat. And it's a very, very unique opportunity for me as a Native woman, because I've sat at many tables over the years and I've had equality to sit there, but I've never had equity, never had that voice at the table. And this is the first time in my lifetime that I've ever had that opportunity, because I sit on a board that took the time. We had to get educated. Many of us have dual degrees. I'm a lawyer, I'm a judge, I'm the Tlingit and Haida Supreme Court chief justice. That's irregardless. That is something we were taught to do, to go get that education. The real trick to it is to take your cultural self, the part of you that your core values that make you who you are. I sit at a table where we are able to bring both of those things together. And I am so incredibly proud of my teammates and the people that I have the honor to sit at that table. The game has been upped. We've taken our educations, and I can honestly say my teammates' cultural opportunities, and we apply them. We're thinking not of ourselves, not I, me. We're thinking community. We're thinking our children. We're thinking our great-grandchildren down the road. That's who we are. And I'm very proud of it. And I would greatly appreciate your vote and vote of confidence for the team that I am the honored to sit with. Thank you very much.
All right. We heard from Angela Sadau earlier. She had to go to her children's play, but we have Vicky Sobolov here who's going to read her statement.
Good evening again. You all met Angela Michaud earlier. She is a bright member of your community, working hard here. And I was able to go with her this afternoon on a tour of one of the entities that she's been working with through the Cook Inlet Tribal Council. And it was very impressive, the Fab Lab. And it's for youth here in Anchorage, and they have daily programs. So if you have a teenager who's interested, you may have them look into that. Dr. Angela Michaud is Chukanady from Hoona. She grew up in Ketchikan and lives now in Anchorage. She is a spouse and mother of 4. She would like to thank you for the opportunity to serve as a director for the last 3 years for Sealaska Corporation. She is currently the Senior Director of Recovery and Reentry Services at Cook Inlet Tribal Council in Anchorage, Alaska. She has her own private residential and commercial real estate business. She has a bachelor's in science degree, doctor of chiropractic degree, and a master's in business administration in international business. During the last 3 years' time, Sealaska has added virtual meetings, community meetings throughout the year, not just at election time. Sealaska has also made donations for language learning. Sealaska has made donations to Sealaska Institute, Heritage Institute for cultural activities that they use then to get more matching funds. Sealaska donates to the Spruce Root, which helps grow our Southeast Alaska businesses, which also exponentially increased funds with matching agencies. Sealaska has gone into international business, and Angela Michaud has her MBA degree in international business. Sealaska is focusing on ocean health and making money. The businesses Sealaska owns use all the fish, so have no waste. It is a great model we can learn from and bring back to Alaska. The board is strong and works well together. They are getting things accomplished in business as well as social supports for our communities. Please vote today.
However, Vicky, for being willing to read that statement. Next, Ganesha Tog, Karen.
Last but not least, again, my name is Ganesha Nahadi. I am currently living in Haines, Alaska. I was retired until a week ago when I got a call from Tlingit and Haida, and they asked me to come in and be the interim chief financial officer until they can recruit. So much for retirement. I think that Sealaska is doing a great job with their ocean investments and their hydro sciences. You know, again, to reiterate what Anthony said and everybody else along the way, we're living our values. We're trying to be in business with our values. I think that's important for all of us so that we're sustainable in our profitability, in our growth, and we're paving a way for our children and our grandchildren. We want them to have fish in 20 years. We want them to be able to go pick berries in 20 years. We have to preserve what we have. But also, you know, we need to make money. We have to make money to be sustainable. We can't contribute to Sealaska Heritage or make donations to any of the great programs that are out there unless we're profitable. And I believe that Sealaska is on the right path for continued profitability. This last year was a little tough, you know, the market. I mean, if anybody has a 401k or a 403b or any kind of retirement, if you look at your retirement now, it's probably at the end of 2022, it was probably pretty sad. But the good thing is we're recovering in the first quarter of 23 with the market anyway. And the supply chain is improving a little bit, but we all know how everything is getting expensive or has been expensive. When you go to the grocery store, what used to cost $2 now costs $3. So I'm getting the buzzer. I have what, half a minute left. My goals for Sealaska are to see to expand more in the fish and the hydro sciences. I too would like to see some investment in tourism and to grow more businesses in our southeast region, or at least in Alaska. I encourage everybody to vote, and please vote for me. Goodness cheese.
And thanks again to all of our candidates. It's not easy getting up here to give these speeches and ask people for your vote. But thank you. Let's give them a round of applause one more time. And they are going to be here. Ask them questions. Like I said, come find them, get to know them. And please take a look at My Sealaska or wait for that proxy to drop in the mail and get to know a little bit more about them. And awesome to see that. Yeah. If there's 400 people online, wave hard. Okay, next, I'll call up Barbara Ketty and Dane Nelson to talk about our board youth advisors.
The good thing is I am part Filipino, so I think I can do this within 2 minutes. I have the privilege of calling out the names, and I'm going to go each one of them, though I was told that I could abbreviate, but I won't, because these are remarkable board youth advisors, the former ones, before I introduce Connor. In 2009-10, board youth advisor was Megan Gregory. 2010, Barbara Blake. 2011, Ralph Wolf. 2012, Madeline Sobolov-Levy. 2013, Alicia Guthrie. 2014, Alyssa London. 2015, Barbara Dude. 2016, David Russell Jensen. 2017, Nicole George. 2018, Aiden Helen. 2019, Maka Montour Paki. 2020, Michaela Demert. 2021, Tia Silva, and she's here. 2022, Connor Ulmer. Let me share a few brief words about Connor as he makes his way up. Connor is Kagwantan Eagle Wolf from Cook-Hit Box House. He is carried by his Haida name, Dekinach, where in that name is his grandfather, George's name. He's the son of Annette and Gary Ulmer. He is a direct descendant from Taku Kwan. He's an incredible young man, and we're very fortunate to have him. Connor, please say a few words.
Yeah, thank you. As Barbara said, my name is Connor Omer. My Tlingit name is Nauk, which actually means little Haida. So I just have mad respect for all my Haidas out there. So I am the current 2022 Board Youth Advisor. One of the recent changes that has been made, I'll let everyone know, is the position has been extended to 2 years now, and it will be staggered terms. So in June of this year, we will be having a second Board Youth Advisor starting up. So there will be 2 youth on the board serving staggered terms, which will be amazing to have another youth voice in the boardroom to be able to give a different perspective. So it's not all on me to carry the youth. One of the other changes that has been made is there's a advisory vote that the board youth advisor is giving now. So before the votes, we're trying to get the hang of it, of having me and soon the new BY cast our vote before the rest of the board to just let everybody know how we feel about certain things. For some of the youth who are here in the room that are 18 to 25, the Shareholder Participation Committee does have a youth seat on it now. So for Southeast, outside of Alaska, and the rest of Alaska, there will be a youth position on there. So I believe the application is open, so please apply. And I'm also very open to talk to any youth or anybody who has questions about what it's like being the board youth advisor. Yeah, I think that, and make sure you get out and vote, and hope to see you guys soon. Okay. I will ask Karen and Iljuice to come up and help with door prizes.
So we can just go back and forth, and make it interesting. Okay. We have a plan of action here. The prizes were drawn based on the enrollment, is that correct? When you walked in the door and registered? Yeah, and so it was an automated process, so we will start with the prizes. I'll do the first one. Oh yeah, directors, can you come up and help distribute? So raise your hand loud, high, and yell bingo. The first one goes to Pamela C. It's a Pelican cooler backpack. Over there. Okay.
The second one is Nicole James, and you won $100 Visa gift card.
Next is Tara Edenshaw, and you won a Sealaska backpack. Over here on the right.
The next one is Maria McCluskey, and you won $100 Visa gift card. Where are you? Oh, okay, there you are. Congratulations.
The AirPod. Oh, he's got Ralph Lawson. You've won an AirPod.
Donald Austin Sealaska backpack.
Travis Janich, $100 gift card, Visa gift card. In the back? Oh, over there, okay.
Diane's daughter Lauren Wallachie, she won a seafood basket to be mailed. Sorry, that's like paying after fishing. Okay.
$50. Uh, is there a $50 gift card? Okay. Gary Thomas, a Pelican cooler backpack. Oh,
Rochelle Laws, Sealaska Nike backpack.
Rhonda Jamestown, a cooler tote and Sealaska hat.
Karen Jackson, $100 Visa gift card. Where are you? That looks like the fun table.
Yeah. Mary Savage, a seafood basket to be mailed. Mary Savage. And then Kyle Cartidi, a seafood basket to be mailed over there. It'll be mailed to you.
Frederick Harris, cooler tote / Sealaska hat. Yay, our vet in the house. Yeah, that worked out really well.
We have Delina Mahi, a Sealaska pendant. Delina. Okay. Okay. So we thought we lost a gift bag, a gift. Tamara Paul, $50 gift card and 2 jars of smoked salmon. Tamara, over here.
We've got 2 more gifts. What to do? What to do? We'll have, if it's possible, we'll have dependent went. Well, yeah, who came the furthest? All right, there you go. There's one. I believe you. Tell her you came from Mangoon. Yeah, Kayla's new. Yeah. Some of you drove a long distance to be here and we pay you mad respect for that. Okay. Oh. Shirley Kendall, we voted and you won. I'm sorry, I think we should honor her. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for all you do, Shirley. How are we doing on our agenda? Is that it? Okay.
What?
Our chairman, Joe Nelson, is going to come up and close out. Thank you, everybody. It's been amazing to be with you.
Goodness cheese, everyone.
So as we're winding up and getting home safely, I want to just really thank the entire Sealaska team, which is all of you, for always showing up, for holding each other up. If we're not here to hold each other up, then what are we doing here, you know? So that's always powerful for us when you show up as you do. And my quick close is really a thank you to the board. You got to see everybody comes up and works as a team. And I'll just make another point of privilege here. Any other folks from Yakutat in the room? We got a couple right here, a handful. And we do know that the struggle is real in all of our communities. And in Yakutat in particular right now, some good friends are no longer with us. And we're doing what we can to hold each other up. So as we part ways tonight, just give lots of love to your family members and look out for each other. And generally lots of love from the Sealaska family to all of you. So goodness Chief for being here tonight, and we are genuine in all the love and respect that you give us, because you really do feed us, as our Shareholder Relations Committee Chair said, you're the salmon that feed us, and hopefully we'll be able to return and feed you again very soon. So goodness Chief.